Hi, I'm Joshua Carving, and welcome to another Death Battle prediction video. But first, we have two fights to go over. First, we have Thor versus Vegeta. This fight was pretty stellar. This has basically been the end of the very, very long journey that we've had with Thor's speed. He was, Mach 32 back in Thor versus Raiden, and every now and then that hammer just keeps coming back up with different speeds. And now we've got Plank Instance. That's basically where we've gotten with Thor's speed. So, yeah, that basically went pretty much as expected. It really helps when we basically know all the numbers that they're going to give, for the most part. And then it was just a matter of Marvel and DC really, really fucking strong. Which, hey, that might come up again sometime this video. The animation was stellar, the voice acting was amazing, the kill shot was brutal, the song was fantastic. Overall, an episode that I don't have to complain about at all, with the sole exception of that they didn't include the Thor Force or Odin Force, which would have just been overkill. So I find it hilarious that at the end of the day they didn't even include Thor's best stuff, and he still won. So then that brings us to, which unfortunately I did not get a prediction video done for this one in time, but Homelander versus Omni-Man. Now, if there's any episodes that are preferable for me to miss them if I'm going to miss an episode, it's one that's like Omni-Man versus Homelander, where I didn't need to predict it. No one's looking around going, I wonder who wins that one. I'm pretty sure everybody was kind of tuning into that fight to see Homelander get his shit kicked. I saw nobody arguing in favor of Homelander for that one, because the most casual, invincible observer just goes, damn, he sure is flying through that city pretty fucking fast and destroying all of it. And then that's immediately better than anything Homelander has, where literally the highest that Homelander had was, hypothetically, he should be able to survive nukes. It was just incomparable. The animation was fantastic, if a little bit short. I suppose part of the reason why it felt a bit on the shorter side was because they actually went in quite a bit on the premise of the fight, so it were. They did a good job setting it up. The characters were very well acted. The kill shot was amazingly brutal, as would be expected of both of these. And, of course, the result was correct. Duh. And that brings us to comics once again. Magneto versus Tetsuo. It's very interesting that we're getting an Akira rep in Death Battle. That's pretty amazing, actually. Not really something that people would figure that we'd get. But yeah, Magneto versus Tetsuo is a fantastic matchup in theme, in a way. I saw a lot of people saying that Magneto versus Accelerator would have been preferable, but sure. You're always going to have a fight that you prefer for a character over another. But unfortunately for this one, yeah, it goes about the same way as all the others. The Magneto just kind of curb stomps in almost every category. There's not too much that you can really go over with Akira. It's a movie with a manga. That's kind of it. So for the most part, almost all of his feats, all of Tetsuo's feats are basically a lot lower scale. It's only really with the ending stuff. So, for example, he can catch and redirect light. Basically, this should be either relativistic or a little bit above light speed, depending on how you interpret the feat. But just by virtue of what we know that's not enough. Because then you're going to have, Magneto can block optic blasts from Cyclops, and those are repeatedly stated to be light speed. So now you can compare things between them. And oh boy, look, Magneto sure did redirect Mjolnir in flight. What were those numbers again? Planck instance? So, yeah, it really comes down to how much they want Tetsuo to die, what they're going to put him at in terms of speed. For power, there is only one specific thing to talk about, and that is the controversial universal creation thing that happens with the anime. It is not canon to the manga, but it is also ultimately not necessarily valid. It's essentially like a Big Bang type thing, but even if you were to accept it at face value, which I personally don't think you should, there's quite a bit of shakiness to it, you would have to give Magneto the same leeway, essentially. And not only do you have a lot of different characters who Magneto has fought and defeated, who are universal, multiversal, etc., so forth. I mean, at this point, if you're universal in the Marvel Universe, that essentially is multiversal, just by virtue of the size of the universe. So there's that to take into account, but then there's also things like, essentially there was a time where Magneto was holding two universes apart, and to prevent them from colliding and shit happening. It did ultimately kill him, which is similar to people scaling to Akira as well. People say that because Tetsuo survived for a certain amount of time, he scales to essentially a questionable universal feat. If you apply the exact same logic to Magneto, then it's two universes slamming into each other. So just there's no way you can get this into Tetsuo's favor, especially when you start going, okay, well, can Tetsuo fuck with his head and maybe do some mental attacks? Literally, Magneto, one of his most iconic things, literally the defining character design element for him, is the fact that he has this mental protection helmet. There is no feasible way that Tetsuo is getting into his head. And then Magneto has, like, dozens of ways that he can just casually murder Tetsuo. So, yeah, I don't see this one going at all in his favor. Yeah, that's all I've got for this one. So, I will see you guys for the next one.